ahead of the game.
Hi, I'm Kelsa Dickey, the CEO of the Financial Coach Academy and my financial coaching business, Fiscal Fitness Phoenix. My coaching journey began more than a decade ago with me helping people for free from my dining room table. What was once a little business of mine has grown into a 7-figure company that employs a team of people. My goal is simple, to help you fall more and more in love with financial coaching. I believe financial coaching is the most rewarding way to make a living. If you are an aspiring financial coach or have been coaching for years, I'm here to help you create a business you love that gets your clients massive results. Let's get to it. Hey, Financial Coach. Welcome to episode 25 of the Financial Coach Academy podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the trust triad. Essentially, how do you earn the trust of the people you want to serve with your coaching? Before we dive into that topic, I want to kick off this episode with a review that was left on Apple Podcasts. This review was left by She Does 95818. And She Does says, "This podcast has made me a better coach. Kelsa has a way of explaining the nuances of coaching and money mindset in such a beautiful way. This podcast has introduced me to new ways of digging deeper with my clients so they get better results and truly get transformation. More, please." Thank you so much, She Does. I really appreciate you being a listener and leaving that review, and more is coming, I promise, because I am really enjoying making this podcast. We have 39 ratings right now on Apple Podcasts, and I would love to get to 50. It does help fulfill my mission of creating more financial coaches in our world, which means more people have access to getting help with their money. So if you are enjoying this podcast, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating, and also type a quick review. It doesn't have to be a long one. Something short does the trick. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. 2 quick reminders. The first one is that I would love to answer your questions on an upcoming episode of the podcast. If you have a question that you would love to get answered, maybe it's a client situation, a business strategy, something with your own mindset, and you want me to answer it on the air, please head over to financialcoachacademy.com/podcast and submit your question, and you might just get it answered on an upcoming episode. Last but not least, quick reminder before we dive into the Trust Triad. I am taking some time off this summer. I'm doing a business sabbatical to spend some time with my family at our lake house. Don't worry, my lead coach, Jill Emanuel, is coming to the studio to record a number of episodes for you so that you don't have a gap in your listening. And I know they are going to be absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you guys know this, but Jill was actually a client of mine first. That is how I met her. She made the decision to sign up for financial coaching when she had no money and she had no idea how she was going to pay for financial coaching. And now she is on the other side of that table, right? She's on the other side of that situation. She has made incredible financial progress in her life, and now she coaches others to do the exact same thing. And I know so many of you wonder time and time again, how do you offer coaching to somebody when they can't afford it? And for those listening to the podcast, I'm putting can't afford it in air quotes. And Jill is actually going to share her exact perspective at that time of the decision, how she was feeling, what she was thinking, what she thought of the cost, even though she knew she had no idea how she was going to pay for it. Why did she make that decision? What was going through her mind? How was she feeling? Where was her head at the time? All of those types of things. And I think it's going to be awesome for you to hear directly from somebody who has experience, but can also speak to the power of financial coaching, being on the other side of the table as a financial coach herself. So I am super excited for that podcast episode, and that will be coming to you in July. All right, today we are going to dive into the Trust Triad. This is also known as the Belief Triad, and this gives you a framework for building trust with your followers, your prospects, with the goal that they feel more confident reaching out to you, or even just booking that initial phone call with you or booking a session with you. Chances are this episode is going to give you some direction for your content creation, which will hopefully boost your creativity, streamline your efforts, and get you better results all at the same time. So let's see if we can't strengthen your marketing and messaging a bit in this episode. Are you ready, Coach? That is my goal. Let's hop to it. If you are sharing posts on social media or having lots of conversations but not gaining new clients at the pace that you would like, or if you feel like you're spinning your wheels a bit, then this episode is for you. If you are getting the question, what certifications do you have? And you're hearing that question often when you have these conversations, this episode is also for you. In episode 24, we explored the things you need and don't need to launch your financial coaching business. One of the things that I said you don't need is a certification or letters after your name, and how all too often, if you are getting asked this question over and over again from your prospects, what it means is that a person is looking for a reason to trust you. They are looking for a reason to hire you. They want to do that, but they are missing something. Something is missing for them in order for them to make that decision or take that step. So they're thinking, I'd like to hire her, but they're still hesitating. And they then ask that question about your credentials in order to have like a surefire way to trust you. But we don't need to have credentials in order for them to trust you. I promise you, coach, the more you focus on trust building in your marketing, the less you are going to hear this question. So let's start with a foundational concept that you've probably already heard. It is the know, like, trust factor. Know, like, trust factor is a business marketing concept based on the idea that people are more likely to purchase from a brand they have a relationship with, right? And because of this relationship, people are familiar with you. They've formed a connection with you. They have an affection for you, right? Most importantly, they probably believe in your integrity. All of these things, when firmly in place, translate to the person feeling more ready, even excited to do business with you. And today, what we're going to do is we are going to really hone in on the trust element of the know, like, trust concept. How do we encourage people to trust us? How do we earn their trust, right? Well, that is the trust triad. The trust triad says that in order to buy, a person must trust three things. They have to trust you, their coach, and their guide, that you are skilled and knowledgeable and you can get them results. They have to trust the process. That's number two, your program or the course you're selling, the coaching in general, right? They have to trust in that. And number three, they have to trust themselves, that they are ready, capable, and that they believe that they can make change. Your goal in your marketing is building a strong reputation across all three aspects of this trust triad. So let's break each one down, and I'm going to give you some specific examples for each one as well. The first one, they have to trust you, their coach and their guide, that you are skilled and knowledgeable and able to get them results. If I were to pull up your social media or your website right now, chances are, my guess is that this is probably the one you've already got a head start on. This is typically the easiest one for business owners to do naturally. Be yourself. Be approachable. Don't try to be too perfect. You want to be relatable, right? If you are sharing pictures of yourself or your own stories, those types of things, what you are doing is you are building trust with you, right? The fastest and simplest way to begin building trust in you is sharing real photos of you. If I were to go to your social media and I only see curated content, and what I mean by curated content is like images that you created in Canva that have quotes and statistics and like the carousels where it's like one, takeaway per slide and like that kind of thing. And there are no personal images of you. I want you to post all of the same content you have been posting recently. Yes, repost the same content. You're allowed to do that. I promise you, nobody will notice. But instead of posting the images, I want you to post a photo of you with the content instead. And I want you to do that every few posts. I want to see you, your face, you living life, you working your magic, you doing your thing in your marketing. Okay, so just take all the same content you've already created, but share it with a photo of you, okay? Now, another way that you can build trust in this category of the trust triad is to tell personal stories about your own journey. Share your own missteps and how you overcame them. One of our best converting posts with Fiscal Fitness was a post that I shared about the time that I forgot to pay my credit card bill. And we got like 3 new clients booked from that one post. And what we kept hearing from that post was, I knew instantly that you wouldn't judge me because I make mistakes too, right? I could say in my marketing, I won't judge you. Of course, right? I could put that out there, and I probably have, but that isn't as strong as me sharing my own snafus and how I overcame them. Another way that you can build trust using this area of the trust triad is to share details about you and your life. Talk about your values. What is most important to you? Why are you a coach? Why do you love this work so much? What are your own goals? What kinds of trainings have you taken recently? What are some books that you're reading? What are the podcasts that you listen to? What makes you tick as a person and as a coach? Think about your innate skills, those abilities that you have, those traits, and talk about them in your marketing. This is a way for people to get to know you and be able to relate to you. Here's an example of this. If you're the type of person who can take complex problems and break them down into more manageable steps, that is a really beautiful gift to have as a financial coach, because a lot of the money goals that a person has to be broken down into multiple smaller steps. So you could talk about that, and you could talk about it when you're doing something other than money-related activities, right? But you can simply highlight that is a natural ability that you have. If you are creative, if you are a natural problem solver, find ways of talking about those things in your marketing. Share your hobbies. Look at what they say about you, about what you enjoy, minus fitness, right? And share those things in your marketing and try to find ways to relate those to the messaging and the takeaways you're trying to share when it comes to money. Follow through on what you say you will do. This is a huge component of earning people's trust. If every Monday, if you post something and you say, every Monday I do Money Mondays and I go live and I talk about money strategies, then you better do it. And when you go live, or if you share something, you can say something like, I'm just wrapping up my day, and here are some things I'm sending as follow-ups to my clients. I'm sending client A a debt payoff tool, and client B, I'm sending her a vision exercise that she wants to complete before our next session. What you are doing is you are, one, showing the value that you deliver, but you're also showing that you follow through on the things you tell your clients during sessions that you're going to do. And that is one way of building trust. Now, chances are, as I'm talking about some of these things, you might be thinking like, well, of course I do those things. Like, clearly I do those things, but you don't want to take it for granted, because these are actually the things that people need to see in order to feel confident trusting you, right? Because believe it or not all business owners follow through on what they say they're going to do. And so that is a really scary step for a person to take, is like, what if I hire the wrong person? What if I hire a person who overpromises and underdelivers, right? So talk about the ways that is not you in your marketing. For the coaches, if you are enrolled in the Financial Coach Academy course, this is the area where your why story fits beautifully into this section of the trust triad. Why are you passionate about this work? What gets you excited about this work? Who do you love working with and why? What are your philosophies on money, debt, savings, behavior change? Chances are, simply by listening to me talk, that my philosophy is that there isn't one right way to manage your money. That one philosophy, I believe, permeates everything that I do, the way that I coach, my style, all of those types of things. What you want to do, coach, is ask yourself, what are some of the beliefs around money that you have? What are some of your philosophies? And share those freely and often in your marketing. Also, in order to encourage this component of the trust triad, lead by example. Walk the walk. Show yourself updating your budget or managing your money. Show yourself using one of the tools that you recommend clients use, and show yourself doing it consistently. This helps overcome skepticism. It helps earn trust that you practice what you preach, right? Now, one little caveat is to be careful sharing your challenges unless you have already overcome them. You want to use your weaknesses or challenges or mistakes or those types of things as learning stories with takeaways, not the type of story where the role gets reversed and your potential clients, your prospects, actually need to lift you up or coach you on the situation that you are still in the middle of. You don't want to reverse those roles, okay? Another thing I will say about this area of the trust triad, and then we'll move on to the second one, is that if you have any testimonials from clients that talk about you specifically, that is a way of elevating trusting in you. Were you a good listener? Were you, the least judgmental person? Were they afraid that you would be judgmental, but you weren't, right? Were you really open-minded? Were you a good listener? All of those types of things. Those are all examples of client testimonials that help to build trust in you, their coach, and their guide, which is a really important element of the trust triad. The second component is that they have to trust the process. They have to trust your program, the course, or your coaching. Whatever it is that your container is, however you package that, they have to trust in that process, right? So you can encourage this trust building by talking about what coaching looks and feels like. And by doing this one specifically, you're actually covering two main hesitations that people have, but they don't always realize they have them. The first is that you are sharing this idea that I have a process because I care enough about your experience to have created a process, right? Like, I'm not going to wing it because the results that I want you to get and the results that we want to do together are so important to me. I'm not going to leave that up to chance. I have a process, right? The second takeaway here is that it's important for someone to be able to imagine themselves experiencing coaching. And the only way for them to do this is if you paint a clear picture of what their journey might look and feel like. You want them to almost like imagine that they are doing it before they even sign up, right? That is a way that they are building trust in that process. Building trust in your program or coaching can look like a number of things. The fastest and easiest way is by naming your program or your coaching concepts. This helps you when you're talking about them, but it also helps clients to see that there's a more formal process in place that you have created and that you follow with all of the people, right? That you have a likelihood of success. Their likelihood of success is greater because you have something that you replicate. Again, you're not just taking this like willy-nilly by chance, right? Another way to encourage this second component of the trust triad is by sharing results from the program itself. What are the core benefits that clients gain from your program specifically? Paint a clear picture of what those most common results are and what somebody is most likely to receive. Share client wins often as you can. So if you had a client pay off a credit card debt, if you had a client in a session that day say, I can't believe how good this feels, keep sharing those types of things. They need to see that the process and that your program works and that it works more often than it doesn't, right? Like, it not working is something that you want them to like not even consider at some point, right? Make sure you mention that your signature program, your coaching, or your process is tried, true, and tested, right? Now, coach, you might have been your very first client, right? So if you are coaching around some of the same principles that you used to make financial progress yourself, then your results are what you share first, okay? So start by sharing those results and talk about it as like, this is the process that got me to 6 figures in savings, or a 6-month emergency fund, or debt freedom, or for me to not lose my job, change jobs or change careers, right? That kind of thing. And this same process can work for you too. I'm going to walk you through it and make sure you stick with it, right? Like, all of that is really great marketing to empower trust building in the second component. Another way is to do what's called exploring the gap. Where is a person when they first come to you, and where are they when they finish your program? Now, if you are like me and you've got clients who work with you for years and years and years, some of my clients have been working with me for 10 years now, I want you to consider where they were maybe 6 months into your program, okay? Not sort of at the very end, because that final vision, what I have found, and I sort of learned this the hard way, to be honest, is that final vision, my client who's been, good with their money for 8 years, the way they make decisions, the things they want, their desires, the hangups they have, it's so different, so far removed from what a client is when they first come to us that's a big leap. That's a huge disconnect. So, and it can almost like overwhelm a person who's just starting because they're like, I don't even want that. That's not even something I want. And she helps people who want that, right? So what I want you to do is when we explore the gap, it's from when they first come to you to like 3 or 6 months later, okay? So if you have a 90-day program, which is what we offer in the Financial Coaching Toolkit, Growth Area 2, if you want to check that out, it's a whole 90-day financial coaching program that you can use with your clients. then where are they at the end of that 90 days? That's what you want to be talking about. If you have a 6-month program, then you want to talk about where they are at the end of that. And you want to paint a picture of here's where you are and here's where you could be. And then my coaching, my program, my process fills the gap, right? Everything that we do is in the middle, okay? What you really want to be doing is sort of asking yourself some of these questions. What's different about the way they think, feel, and manage their money? Okay, so it's not just like they have more money in savings. Those are the tangible things, which is really great, but also how are they thinking differently? How are they feeling differently? Those are just as important. What are they able to say about how they do things that they weren't able to say before signing up with you, and be really specific? What goals have they been able to achieve? And with this one, again, make sure you focus on tangible and intangible benefits and goals here. For example, having an emergency savings is tangible, right? Feeling more secure and less worried about the what ifs, that's intangible. We want to be talking about both of those things in our marketing, and that our program, our coaching delivers that, okay? You can also build trust in your coaching and program by sharing things like scheduling is easy or getting started is as easy as 1, 2, 3. There is a reason. If you go to most business owners' websites, you are going to see somewhere on the homepage a step-by-step, here's what to expect sort of section, right? So it's like 1, we're going to gain clarity with this type of session. Then 2, you're going to move into the program and we're going to make changes, right? So that kind of visual nature to the website. What they are doing is they are helping to, that little section builds trust in the process, that there is a formal process in place and it's going to be really easy to follow the steps, right? That it's not just like from one session to the next, I don't know what's going on. I have no clue like what I'm supposed to be doing and what this coach wants me to do. It's like, no, this coach has a process and they're going to lead me through it. Okay. You can also share things like I'm accessible by email and phone in between sessions should things come up and you need somebody to navigate those decisions with. Now, of course, only say this if that is true for your program. We do not give out our cell phone numbers on our team. It's just a work-life balance sort of thing. A coach could do it if they wanted to on my team. That's not necessarily an issue. Most of us don't. So only say this if that is true for you. Of course, stay within integrity on that. But talking about how your coaching is customized to the person is also another way of emphasizing your process, okay? Share what someone can expect before, during, and after their first coaching session. So this is a little different than exploring the gap. You can do both of these things. This one is like, right before you schedule your session, here's probably what's going through your mind. Once you book that session, here's what's going to happen. You're going to receive this type of prep work. Or you might wonder, oh crap, what the hell have I just done? That is a normal thought that some people have. Don't worry, you're in good hands, right? Like your session, you will enjoy it, but you might start to get nervous or scared the closer it gets. That is very normal for our clients. They book their very first session. We call it a power planning session. And for like one moment after they book, they are like terrified. They have like this pit in their stomach. They're like, oh God, what have I just done, right? And then the closer that session gets, they really start to get nervous. They start to worry of like, oh my God, I'm going to be so embarrassed. She's going to be looking at things. What is she going to tell me? It's going to be really bad. I'm going to be the worst client she's ever had. She's going to tell me I have to file bankruptcy, all those types of things. And this is why, Coach, I know that if you are newer, you probably get nervous going into new client sessions and you want to prepare endlessly and all of that. And I need you to hear me that everything you are worried about, chances are the client is 10 times more scared. And I want you thinking about that, not necessarily thinking about yourself, okay? So you can share that. This is really important, especially if your ideal client is someone new to investing in coaching or personal development, which tends to be a lot of our clients when they first hire us. So the reason this is important is because they're not really sure how coaching works. Like you're going to be the first coach that they hire. They don't know what to expect, that kind of thing. That can be really intimidating. And so you want to remove that barrier in your marketing. This section of the Trust Triad is great for your FAQ section on your website. Some folks want more detail and really clear expectations around how the program is going to work, all of the details of it, the number of sessions and that kind of thing. And yet others can get really bogged down by too much detail. So by parking this type of information in your FAQ section, it's easily digestible for those who want that information, but for those who don't need it, they're just going to like be able to read the question and decide if they want to read the answer or not, right? This also builds trust, just even having an FAQ section, because what that tells your people is that you are anticipating your potential clients' concerns, their needs, their questions, the unknowns. You are helping them to feel more certain and also confident before they buy, that you really care about their certainty, right? That shows that you not only understand them, but that you care about them. In this component of the trust triad, where you're trying to build trust in your program or your coaching, client testimonials are also helpful here as well. If you have a review that mentions something like, I was initially worried about the technology, but it turned out to be easy and well worth learning a new approach to my money, right? Something like that is talking about the process or the tools or the system you use. Another example of a client testimonial that satisfies this part of the trust triad is one that says something like, I was worried about the time commitment, but I found myself looking forward to the coaching sessions. Or the work Kelsa gave us to do in between sessions was really helpful. So if you think your clients might be worried about doing homework in between sessions and whether that's just sort of annoying, then share a testimonial from somebody who talks about how valuable that was and how it wasn't just work or checking the boxes, that you actually put thought and intention into the work you were giving your clients to do. All right, that leads us to the third component of the trust triad, which is that they have to trust themselves, that they are ready for change, that they can get the same results as all the other people you've helped and that you keep sharing those results of, right? This one, coach, is the hardest factor to build trust in. So much of your marketing should center around this one because it takes constant messaging to really create a shift in this component of the trust triad. Chances are, if you are marketing like a crazy person on social media but not seeing a ton of conversions, this one is why. Your folks likely trust you, but they don't yet trust themselves. This one takes time, and your focus should be on giving them opportunities to work on their belief in themselves. So here is exactly how you can do that. The first one is pretty straightforward. Share affirmations, daily affirmations, really good takeaways, concise, takeaways, quotes, inspirational messages. You could post one of these every single day. You could post multiple of these every day. These ones, in my opinion, when it comes to content creation, are the easiest to sort of batch create. So you could literally pull up like a whole bunch of quotes or that kind of thing and create 365 of them all in one sitting and get them all scheduled, and you are done for the year. Or if that sounds like a lot, you could do 1 week's worth or 1 month's worth as well. So you also want to share things that your clients say to you during their intake paperwork and or their first coaching session, and then right after their first coaching session. Think of this like a before and after of a person's thoughts when they first come to you compared to after they have experienced coaching. This helps people who read these types of things to see that they can take action even if some of those same beliefs that they have them too. So they're going to read that other people thought this before they scheduled. And those thoughts are going to be like, oh my God, I've had that same thing. I've been telling myself the exact same thing, right? But look at this person thought that, and look at what this person says now, right? So even though I can totally relate, this person took action, right? And look at where they're at. I can take action too. Now, let's see. It also helps them to see that they are not alone and that is not a fixed mindset. Sort of having this belief doesn't mean that it's true and accurate and has to stay there, right? That you can still take action despite it or with that right alongside you. Now, don't get too in the weeds of the how here. The how will probably feel a little overwhelming to a person who is feeling stuck or is doubting themselves. Celebrate the person's growth. So what I mean by this is if a person comes in and says one thing, and then after the session, they say the opposite. As a coach, what you probably want to do in your marketing, and I'm telling you not to do this, is share how you help them get from A to B, right? You're going to say they did this exercise, or we had this conversation, or we had them complete these action steps, or here's exactly what we did to get from A to B. Do not share the how. The how does not matter. The how is your coaching. In order for them to get the how, they have to hire you, right? What you want to do is just paint the picture of like, I know this is what you're thinking. I know this is sort of what's going through your mind. You want to speak to that and say, this is very normal. You're not alone. A lot of our clients feel this way. Here's what they say afterwards, right? Another way that you can help people boost their belief in themselves is by giving the person small baby step engagements that they can take with you, ways that they can take slow actions and learn to trust themselves in the process. These are called tripwire offers. Make sure if you create one of these, this might be something like a 7-day no spending challenge, or a 10-day savings challenge, or a 3-day cut your expenses challenge, or something like that, right? We are doing something for Financial Literacy Month around a bingo card and that kind of thing. So just little fun things for them to take baby actions, right? Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that these are not so hard to complete that you end up having the opposite effect on a person where they then don't do it. And that then reinforces their limiting beliefs around themselves and whether or not they are capable of taking action. So if you create these types of things, simple and easy is best, I promise you. Okay, I promise you. This is where I think oftentimes we get confused on what the purpose of a tripwire offer like this might be. And what I want you to know is all too often for financial coaches, I believe the purpose of a tripwire offer is to boost their belief in themselves that they can do something. They don't have to be perfect, and they can do something and they'll be okay, right? That is really what you're trying to encourage. You also can encourage them to draw on proof from their own life where they've already applied different skills or overcome obstacles or made changes to make their life better. Help them to see that they've already done it in one area of their life, which means they can do it in this area too. I talk about this one a lot with our physical fitness business because our clients are athletes. And so I often will say things like, remember when you first started going to the gym and it was hard and you were sore all over for those 2 weeks. Like literally you found muscles you did not even know you had because you were so sore all over. But now you love going to the gym and you love that feeling and you're not nearly as sore anymore as you used to be. And you can't imagine your life without it. That's exactly how taking control of your money feels too, right? So we can draw those parallels of an area of their life where they've experienced some growing pains, but yet sort of powered through it with an amazing outcome and attach that to money as well. Testimonials are great for this area of the trust triad as well. You'll notice that testimonials are great for all areas of the trust triad because it really depends on what the testimonial says. If a testimonial says something like, if I can do it, you can do it too, or I really wasn't sure if I would ever be able to get out of debt, but now thanks to Kelsa, I've done it. Those types of testimonials, what you are demonstrating is that they didn't believe it was possible and now they've realized it is, okay? Now, in order to overcome this one, you really need to identify the main roadblocks that your people have. And it's not always about them as a person. It's not about belief in them. It's more about like their circumstances, right? Their life circumstances make it so that they aren't able or capable of committing to this growth. Time. You're spending more time putting out fires than it takes to receive coaching and change your life. Coaching actually saves you time or gives you time back. I'll just earn more might be another roadblock. Great. I hope you do. Let's make sure you do the absolute best things with the amazing income you are setting out to earn, right? In other words, we are taking each one of these and we are addressing it head on. Another one is maybe overwhelm. They feel too busy or stressed to start. Call this out and emphasize how easy coaching is to get started and how chances are this is actually going to help remove overwhelm from their life. Cost, it pays for itself. Right? Money is hard. I'll never be good with money. This is an identity. They see themselves as someone who isn't good with money. And so this is where journal prompts, affirmations, you could do a 7-day challenge just around a journal prompt every day for 7 days, right? Maybe they're embarrassed. You're looking at your finances, and that can be hard for some people. Just call this out and say, I have seen some of the worst things that a person has ever done with their money, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and help to sort of unravel it and solve those problems for a person, right? Just call it out. Like, what you have is nowhere near the worst I've probably ever seen, right? I want you to imagine, Coach, that your content is built around these 3 elements: trust in you, trust in your process, and trust in themselves. Imagine the impact that would have on how a person feels about making a commitment to sign up for coaching. They know you are the person to help them. They know you as a person and as a coach. They know what's important to you and that you get them, right? They know what to expect once they sign up. They can imagine what that process will look like, and they can see themselves navigating that process thanks to you leading them through it. And they know that that process gets people the kinds of results that they are also after. And then last but not least, they know they can trust themselves, or at least they're beginning to believe that that is possible, and it's worth trying. It's worth taking the chance, right? They know that they are more likely to succeed by signing up with you than going at it alone. In other words, they can clearly see that their likelihood of success is significantly greater with you and your program than without it. That is really what you're shooting for. And that is the trust triad. That is the approach that I would love to see you take in your marketing. Coaching is all about figuring out what you think of something and how that is impacting how you feel and the actions you take. In order to honor the coaching philosophy, I like to end every episode with a question for you to reflect and ponder for yourself. The purpose is to deepen your awareness or help you gain clarity on the episode topic. It also creates the opportunity for you to share your thoughts with me and other financial coaches. So let's get the discussion going. I'd love to hear from you. If you are watching on YouTube, drop a comment with your answer to today's question, or join the conversation in our free community for financial coaches. Hop on over to Facebook and type in Financial Coaches Unite and ask to join. Here is your question for this episode. Which area of the trust triad feels the weakest for you, and how will you go about strengthening it? Next episode, we are going to dive into the Gains decision-making framework. I am so excited to bring this framework to you, and I hope you use it for yourself and your clients. I believe financial coaching is the best and most rewarding way to make a living. I truly love what I do. If you are ready to learn and see how to become a profitable, successful financial coach, check us out at financialcoachacademy.com to learn more about our online courses, free trainings, and events. As always, I love hearing from you. So if you have any questions or thoughts about the podcast, submit them at financialcoachacademy.com/podcast. And if you love this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. It would mean the world to me. I will see you next week, Coach.